Hello, this is Dr. Kaye Sweetser from San Diego State University. Today I'm going to show you how you might go about creating a code sheet for you to understand the target public's reaction to your client output. So if you are doing some sort of a listening campaign, you of course want to listen to what your client target publics are saying in other spaces on their own accounts, so their personal accounts, but you might also be interested in looking at how your target publics are responding to your output, to what your client is saying. So I've created a Google form which feeds directly into a Google spreadsheet, which is a really easy way to accomplish the coding. And I will share the link to this code sheet with you. However, let's go ahead and start and back up and go at the beginning of the process to see how I created this. So I'm going to work with a pretend client of Lilly Pulitzer. Lilly Pulitzer makes dresses and has a very robust online following. You can see here that there are almost 1 million people who like the Lilly Pulitzer Facebook page, and I can tell you from my own extreme experience with Lilly Pulitzer that they have an Instagram as well as a Pinterest and a number of other different social media properties. And so when I get assigned a client, the first thing I want to do, of course, is go to that client's Facebook page and like that client's Facebook page so that I can follow the client and see in my own feed what exactly is happening for the client. Before I begin to make my code sheet, one of the things I'm going to do is go to the client's Facebook content as well as their Instagram and their Pinterest, etc. And I'm just going to look over it to see what types of things they post. So in this particular post, this is the one post by the client that was posted 18 hours ago. And I see that it is an illustration. And it is one of these special products that they post a lot called the Lilly 5x5. So it has a hashtag. This link right here actually brings you to the new spring line of clothing that was just released, and so this is a hyperlink to their products. I see that almost 2,000 people have liked this. It has 15 comments and 74 shares. So all of this is one post from the client, and there's a lot of information here that I can assess if I'm looking at their output. Let me pause for a moment and say the only time we would even care about the output of a client is if we're looking at the reactions to that output. I don't care that a client puts out an illustration Facebook post with a link back to their product pages. What I care about is that 2,000 people nearly have liked it, that 74 people have shared it. And so it's always considering what is happening to this content after the client posts it that is the most important thing when you're looking at client output. So moving along, I see again we have a link to the spring line, and they're talking, this is an illustration, and they're talking about their new line. Here I see they've posted a couple more hashtags, some different hashtags, Lilly Spill the Juice and Buy Me Lilly. This is a photo that also has an illustration on it, and so this might be something that resonates with their audience more so than just a plain illustration. Here we're back to the regular illustration. We have more of the hashtags, and it looks like they have posted this with one person. So this is something to keep in mind, that the organization has tagged themselves with someone else in there. This is a photo. They've again tagged another person in this particular item, and they have their regular hashtags. And another illustration, another photo with an illustration overlay on here, and an ad type of piece of content, illustration, product, photo with a person in it, photo with people in it, more hashtags. This is not a common hashtag. This is just a special hashtag for situation, obviously, that they are promoting. So on and so forth. I want to familiarize myself with the types of things that the client is posting, and I want to start to make a list. So then I come off into my Google form and I start to look at the different things that I could put on there. The first thing that you want to have on every form when you are coding something is the date that it was published. Because this is social media and there may be several items per day, you're going to also want to put the time that something was published. I am going to code all of my clients' social media content on one code sheet so that I can look at differences between the engagement that happens on Pinterest versus the engagement that happens on Facebook versus Instagram. And so I have an item here that says if I'm just coding that one piece of information, this right here, this one post, and we'll use this as the example. If I'm just coding this one post, where did I get it from? And I got it, in this case, from Facebook. So now we're getting into the understanding of how effective the post was with regard to engagement, as well as what qualities the post had. So the number of likes on the item, and noticing that I'm using the term likes, but in my little help text here, I'm telling myself that it's anytime you double tap on Instagram or you give a thumbs up in YouTube or whatever the case is, right? So the number of likes for the item. So if I'm coding this one piece of content, this one post, I'm going to say that it has 1931 likes. Excellent. Next, how many shares? This is again referring to shares, retweets if it's Twitter, regrams if it is Instagram, repins if it is Pinterest, etc. So how many shares did my item have? This item had 74 shares. And now I'm looking at the technological content. So what type of thing did they do technologically in their post? Here I have it set up as present absent. If they did this item here, then I'm going to click 1. If they didn't do it, I'm going to click 0. The reasons I'm using 1s and 0s here is to make it easy to add up in the spreadsheet on the back end. So did they link to a product? Did they have a hashtag? Did they tag or mention another person? Did they tag or mention another organization? So we're coding this one right here. Did they link to a product? No. Did they have a hashtag? Yes. Did they tag another person? Yes, they did, right up here. Did they tag another organization? No. So that's how I would answer those particular items on that one. Common hashtags used by the client. Again, I came up with this list based on my review of the client's Facebook page and their overall social content. So the only tag I have is the Lily 5x5, so I'm going to go ahead and click Lily 5x5. Any other hashtags? This particular one did not have a hashtag. Now I'm going to focus on the type of media that they had in the item. Was it a photo with people, a photo without people, an illustration, a photo and an illustration combined? Was there a video in it? You have to look at your client and think about what your client is posting in order to come up with this list of things that you're going to look at. So here I see that this was only an illustration, and so all I'm going to do is click photo, nope, nope, illustration, yep, print design, nope, nope, and nope. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the comments just for this item, and I'm going to count up the number of females who commented, the number of males who commented, the number of positive supportive comments there were, the number of negative comments there were, and the number of comments that appeared to be on conversation or a thread. So I've got to go into the comments here. Luckily, there are only 13 that I have to look at here. So I'm going to start with females. I'm going to look through. Catherine is probably a female, so 1. Kathleen is probably a female, 2. Eileen, 3. Elizabeth, 4. Maria, 5. Kaza. I don't know what Kaza is, so I'm not going to guess. Deanna, 6. Kathy, 7, Hope, 8, 9. Oh, I commented on this one. That's so funny. Okay, great. Me, 8. Madeline, 9. Dana, 10. So I have 10 female comments, 0 male comments. I'm not guessing. When I come to somebody that I don't know if that's a male or a female, I am not going to guess. So now I need to read through the comments and figure out how many of them are positive. This is a positive statement. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is not easy to understand, so I'm not going to count that as positive. 8, 9, 10. That is a question, not a positive statement, so I'm not going to count that. 11. So there were 11 positive statements, 0 negative statements. The other thing I wanted to know is if people were talking to each other in here. So if somebody was like, hey, Kathleen, how much did you like that one, or something like that. Okay, so in here I see that somebody actually says, where can I buy an iPhone 6 plus case? And this Dana Davidson comes in and has a conversation. So I would say that there are 2 items that have a conversation thread. Of course, the client did not come in here and answer the question. The community did it on its own. So in my Google form, I can just very easily say add a new item, and then I can pick from any of these different options. If you wanted to do something that you see that appears like this is a text box. If you wanted to do something that appears like this is called a grid, and you just figure out what you want the columns to be, what you want the rows to be, and then there you have the grid. So you can come up with whatever you want your code sheet to look like. You need to review what your client is posting, and you need to focus on what elements your client is posting to be able to understand what creates engagement among your client's publics. So this has to be tailored to your client. You're not going to have these hashtags for other clients. You may not have these very same media content items for your client, because maybe your client never does illustrations. Maybe your client isn't a dressmaker and doesn't have print designs. Another item that you probably want to include would be topic. And so if I had a military client, like many of you are assigned, then I might look at whether it talked about a specific ship, whether it talked about a moment in history, whether it talked about breaking or emerging news, whether it talked about policy, whether it talked about personnel, and things such as that nature. So when I am ready to do my coding, what I like to do is to pull out the code sheet and look at my code sheet on part of my screen, and then I like to look at my items that I'm coding on another part of my screen. Remember, for this type of code sheet where you're looking at the client output and your reaction to the client output, the unit of analysis is essentially what you see here on the screen. It's each Facebook post that the client puts up. So when I have finished all of my coding, I've coded this one, I've gone in and I've pressed submit. And then I go in to the next Facebook post and I code this post. And then I fill this out, I press submit. And then I go to the next Facebook post and I code this post and I fill this out and then I press submit. This all feeds into a back-end database, actually, which I can probably find over here. View responses, and I can look at it in a new spreadsheet. And it will have all of the information in there. So I have not coded anything and input any data yet, so there's no information here in my spreadsheet. But this is the spreadsheet that you would then analyze to see if somebody has used a particular hashtag like spill the juice. Does that have a correlation with higher number of likes or shares? So this is one way that you can use a Google form to do coding. Your unit of analysis can be anything you want. What I've demonstrated here is where the unit of analysis is the client output, and your analytic focus is on understanding how the target publics respond to that client output. So that is Google Form Coding 101. I hope you have a wonderful day and happy